Hey guys, DJ here at Top Tech Cards and Games with a Forcible deck profile. Today I'm going to do Bahamut aggro. It's the most broken deck I've ever played in this game. It's horrifying in every way. It's a mono-red aggro deck. It plays kind of more like a combo deck. The game is over on turn 3. So for our stones, we have one little red pure stone. There probably should be 4 of them, but I don't have one of each color, and I don't want to look poor, so I went with 1. If I had 4, they'd be in here, and it would be called Bahamut, like Eggs Benedict, because the egg is the most broken card in the deck. Anyways, the reason I would actually play 4 of these is because you're going to sit on 1 mana almost every game, all game. Very rarely will you make 2, and if you needed to make 2, we could just tap this for mana and then make our second land, and if we missed and hit a second little redstone, just get rid of the first one, whatever. But anyways, we have 1 little redstone, 1 molest, and 8 basic reds. Our ruler's Bahamut. He flips by sacrificing a red dude. And when he flips over, he's got flying. He does damage equal to the attack of the guy you sacked to a resonator. And he's got sack a red resonator to give him imperishable. Our deck is a pretty streamlined aggro machine. First, we have the most important card in the deck, Rook Egg. Rook Egg is so important because when it gets sacrificed, we get to search for another red resonator, which has a bunch of applications, one of which is being letting us free roll Bahamuts by sacking it to give him imperishable. And the other one being letting us pay free incarnation costs. Just into the more aggressive one drops, we have 4 Hunter in the Black Forest, 4 Apostle of Cain.
There's 5 cards in that set.
Yeah, I realize that's fine. 4 Apostle of Cain, 4 Black Goat, and 4 Wolf Hunted in the Black Forest. Haunted in the Black Forest? Haunted in the Black Forest?
It's hunted.
It's haunted.
It's hunted, right?
It's haunted. I promise, because I thought it made flavor sense because it was a hunter and the hunted. No, don't worry. It's wolf haunted. You can look at the card. Yeah, you guys can see too. It says haunted. Don't know if that was intentional or not. Hunter was real good flavor. Anyways, these 12 guys just put pressure on, and they're 1-mana creatures that we can sack for Bahamut to flip him. Black Goat has the same value. It lets you sack him early. If the game drags on a little bit, you can remove them from your grave for extra damage. And it's got good utility with Guinevere, which we play 4 of, being able to just discard him to effectively have just discarded nothing. You also can sack Rook Egg for Guinevere to get yourself the free search. So you've drawn 2 cards, pitched a card in, you got to search a free red guy. Probably just another egg. But that's what makes Guinevere pretty good in this deck. On top of that, we're basically playing a combo deck. Our goal is to find the red Regalia as quickly as possible. So ideally, if you don't hit it in your first 10 cards, so you're just going to mulligan every card that's not Red Sword. You want to have one of her, and just use her to loot 2 cards deeper and try to find Red Sword. For our last creature, we have 4...
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu the Living Flame. It's just got Incarnation for 1 red, so we can just sacrifice a Rook Egg, or just any of our other red 1-drops, and put him in. He's got Swiftness, and he's a 5/5. So he just comes in and does damage for no mana. And that's, like I said, super important because we want to play the game with 1 stone. For our spells, we have 4 Thunders.
That's it.
It's a 1-mana burn spell. It clears blockers and goes to the face. It can also help deal with our opponent's rollers if some kind of situation like that were to happen. Then we have 8 Regalias. We have 4 Leviathan, basically Leviathan, close enough, the Demon Sword, and 4 Excalibur, the God Sword. Excalibur is kind of bricky in the deck, but your win condition is just to keep your Bahamut alive and keep slamming with it for as long as possible, so this makes our Bahamut kill them a little bit faster, assuming we've dealt any sort of incidental damage with our little dudes. And it just lets us remove it to give him imperishable. On top of that, giving him target attack is sort of relevant in the mirror, I would assume, because you can't just race your opponent if they flipped, so you need to make sure you can kill their roller, though he'll be tapped anyway, but I assume it's relevant somewhere. I don't know. Mostly it's just free imperishable, those for 0 mana, and 0 mana cards are pretty good when we're going to play the game on 1 stone. Leviathan is just absolutely insane, though. It lets us play with more mana functionally if we draw multiples of them, since we can discard to get an extra red mana. But more importantly, it gives Bahamut haste and ups his damage for the flip trigger and his attacks by 200. So we'll be able to clear out our opponent's blockers pretty easily, putting them behind on the board, and then just swing in for 12 the turn we flip him. This means that pretty easily, let's say turn 1 we just tap for a land and play a 1-drop because we didn't draw the nuts. We just go land, Rook Egg, pass. Our opponent does whatever. They probably play like a familiar of Holy Wind or something. I don't know. It's not important, really. So we draw. We don't actually have to play any more stones. We can just play out our swords, flip Bahamut, use Leviathan on him, so he's going to do 200 extra damage, so we can kill the 200 attack cat that's in play. Then Now our Bahamut can attack our opponent for 14. We get to search for another red resonator off Rock Egg, like, let's just say Apostle of Cain. Now since we've attacked with our Bahamut, our Apostle has haste and we have our red mana still, so we attack for another 5. That's 19 on turn 2. That's pretty hard to beat. Not impossible, obviously, but pretty freaking hard. That's not even counting the deck's real nut draws of just drawing double sword and being able to flip our Bahamut on turn 1 with no real investment whatsoever. So this deck is absolutely horrifying. It's the most aggressive deck I've seen in the game, and it certainly wins faster than anything I've seen in the game. We'll go over sideboard real quick because I actually built one in. You don't use it ever. I mean, you do, but like we have 4 Demon Flames and 4 Rapid Decays. These are for the mirror match because you want to just not let your opponent have Resonators in play. Hopefully you just stop them from having a creature so they can't flip their Bahamut. You could use Crime and Punishment, but you're fighting a lost battle if you're not playing threats, letting them hit you, killing their Bahamut, and then they just imperishable it. That's just, you're fighting a very, very lost battle. Then we have 4 Stertos, because there might be some sort of deck that can gain enough life that we can't kill them. I'm not sure that that's true, but if there was, you would bring 4 of these in. Shutting off the Lumia ability to gain life equal to the damage you've taken this turn. It seems like the most relevant one if people are playing that in like their aggressive white sideboards, since that can functionally time walk you for a turn if they could kill your Bahamut. So, I mean, like I said in that last turn, I dealt 19. If my opponent happened to be on the play, I did that turn 1, wouldn't have happened. Anyways, let's just say they could have had a Lumia in play. They could have just blocked out that whole 1900 gain, which like is pretty backbreaking for you. So you can board these in to stop your opponent from gaining life. I was going to use Garden of Eden too, but 3 mana is just way too slow. And then we have 3 Fetal Movement in Outer World. This might actually be better as a 4 of, but I don't know if it actually matters. There might be a Reanimator deck that exists that can race you. And in that case, you just want to not let them reanimate their guys and kill you first, obviously. So, like I said, this might actually be better as a 4 of if that deck exists, though I'm not actually sure that it does. In general, though, like I'm not trying to be an ass and like act like this deck's just too broken. That's why you don't need a sideboard. It's actually just so streamlined that I wouldn't want to cut any of my cards for these normally. Under most circumstances, I would rather just have all of these 1-drop red creatures so I know when I'm top decking that I'm going to top deck a card that I can just put into play and flip my Bahamut, because I'm consistently giving him imperishable even when my opponent deals with him. So it's just better to draw another 1-drop creature and flip your guy for free than it is to draw some sort of hate card. In the mirror, I could see wanting to be the slower deck, though, which is why I have the 8 removal spells for my opponent's 1-drop creatures. But other than that, I don't see myself using this much. Again, there are obviously situations where you'd bring in Serto and Fetal Movement, but I don't know how often they'll happen. Against decks like Vlad or Scheherazade or something, just average control decks, you're probably just going to side 0 cards, though. If your opponent doesn't have some sort of strange life gain engine, you're just not going to sideboard. Your deck is so fast, puts so much pressure on so quickly that they can't really interact. In general, though, like this deck does lose to itself more than anything else. If you miss on your sword and all your mulligans, you're playing just a pile of crappy 1-mana creatures. And hoping to get there with those is not the easiest thing ever. You don't just lose, but I mean, your cards kind of suck then. So if you like winning with a stack of really, really average cards that turns out to be broken with synergy, this is the deck for you. If you like playing Zerg, this is the deck for you. If you like fun interactive games, this is not the deck for you. So, yeah, there's pros and cons there. In general, though, this deck is really good. You should definitely check it out if you're playing Forceful right now. It's just a ton of fun to play with for a little bit. It gets pretty stale pretty fast because it's horrifyingly linear. But I had a lot of fun building it and messing with it, and no one likes playing against it, but, you know, it's fun. Way to make friends.
If your local meta is just a stack of control decks like ours, you can sleeve that up and get a bunch of free packs.
Yeah, if you want to ruin all the control players' days, play that. You will not lose a game to Vlad, I promise. If you have, something is wrong. I don't know if it's something with their list or with how you're playing, but you should not drop games to Vlad with this. Basically ever. And most metas, especially ours, are just filled with Vlad decks right now because people really, really like non-interactive games. Me too. I just like mine to end much faster than them. So, that's all there really is to this deck. It's the most streamlined deck I've seen in this game. It's very, very consistent. Let me know down below what you'd like to see done to this deck, how you would change it, any question you guys have about playing the deck, so on and so forth, especially matchups and stuff. And other than that, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel for tons of new Forceful content, and I will see you guys soon. Woo!